Okay, hello and welcome to lecture 7 of APL 108. In the last lecture, we discussed how to get the stress component sigma x, sigma y, tau xy in the plane on the plane stress problem. So when we have the stress component given by sigma x, sigma y, and tau xy in the plane stress problem, the plane stress condition, that is the state of stress is represented by sigma x, sigma y, and tau xy, or in the plane. So we derived that any arbitrary axis, for example, let us take that this is x-axis, y-axis, and I am interested in finding out what is the stress component with respect to this plane xy, capital XY. So we wrote the expressions that sigma x was equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta plus tau xy sin 2 theta. This was our equation A, and sigma y was equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta plus minus tau xy sin 2 theta. This was our equation B. So this can also be obtained by replacing theta by theta plus pi by 2 in this equation. So then we get this equation for sigma y. Okay, that way also we can obtain. And finally, we can get this shear stress tau capital XY was equal to minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 sine 2 theta plus tau xy cos 2 theta. So this was equation C. Okay, so by considering sigma equation for sigma x, okay, and then we want to find out what are the extreme values for sigma x or sigma y. What we did was we took the derivative of this with respect to theta and equated it with 0, and we found that tan 2 theta was equal to 2 tau xy by sigma x minus sigma y. Okay, and similarly we can also obtain that by considering tau xy is equal to 0. Then also we got that tan 2 theta was equal to 2 tau xy by sigma x minus sigma y. So this we discussed in the previous class. So what we concluded further from this is that whenever we have tau xy equal to 0 on any plane, you don't have the shear stress, and the state of stress is purely referred by the normal stress. That angle or that direction in particular, we call it as principal direction, and the plane on which the shear stresses are 0 are known as the principal plane. Therefore, this angle theta is known as theta p, that is the principal direction. Theta p is the principal direction. Okay, and same thing we obtained by considering the extreme values. D sigma x by d theta is 0. There also we get the same value. Therefore, we call that angle as a principal direction. So that means whenever we have on a plane, there are no shear stress, and the normal stress on that particular plane is what we call it as the extreme values of the normal stress. It can be maximum or minimum in the plane stress problem. Okay, so this is a very important step in the determination of the principal stresses, right? So therefore we have tan 2 theta p is equal to 2 tau xy by sigma x minus sigma y. I can also write the other cos 2 theta and sin 2 theta from this. So if I take a triangle like this is the value of So am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
There was some power disruption. Okay. Okay, fine. So if this is the value of uh, 2 theta, then I have tan 2 theta is given. This is the tan 2 theta p. So this is my 2 tau xy, and this value is sigma x minus sigma y. I can write that this is equal to square root of sigma x minus sigma y square, and then plus 4 times tau xy square. So this is a triangle. Therefore, I can write that cos 2 theta p is equal to sigma x minus sigma y divided by sigma x minus sigma y square plus 4 tau xy square, and sine 2 theta p is equal to 2 tau xy divided by square root of sigma x minus sigma y square plus 4 times tau xy square. Okay, so now let us come back to the equation A and substitute the value of cos 2 theta and sin 2 theta with cos 2 theta p and sin 2 theta p to know the extreme values of the normal stress. Therefore, I can say sigma capital X, we are writing sigma max now, or it can be sigma minimum depending on the numerical value. So we can write this as equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2. I'm writing equation A plus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 into cos 2 theta p is sigma x minus sigma y divided by square root of sigma x minus sigma y square plus 4 tau xy square plus tau xy into sin 2 theta p, that is 2 tau xy divided by square root of sigma x minus sigma y square plus 4 times tau xy square. Okay, I can simplify this as sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus sigma x minus sigma y square by 2 times square root of sigma x minus sigma y square plus 4 tau xy square plus 4 tau xy square. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
fine. Therefore, I can write that sigma max is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 square plus tau xy square. This is the value of sigma max. Similarly, I can substitute in equation B the values of cos 2 theta and sin 2 theta p. I can write sigma minimum is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 square plus tau xy square. So these are the values of sigma max and sigma min. We call this is equal to sigma 1 and this is equal to sigma 2. Okay, so these are the values of principal stresses. Principal stresses. These two are the principal stresses. Now, we can say what is sigma 1 plus sigma 2, that is equal to, I can add this sigma 1 and sigma 2 and find that it is equal to sigma x plus sigma y. It is also equal to sigma capital X plus sigma capital Y. So it is irrespective of any axis we choose, these values remain same as we call them as the stress invariants. Okay, so these are the stress invariants. Stress invariants. Fine. Now can we find to find maximum and minimum values of tau xy. Can we find this? So we do the same thing. We take d by d theta of tau xy. We differentiate equation C and make it equal to 0. What do we get if we differentiate equation C with respect to theta? We get minus of sigma x minus sigma y into cos 2 theta minus tau xy 2 tau xy sin 2 theta. So that we can write here, and that is equal to 0. Therefore, I can write this is equal to minus of sigma x minus sigma y into cos 2 theta minus 2 tau xy sin 2 theta equal to 0. Therefore, I can say tan 2 theta is equal to minus of sigma x minus sigma y divided by 2 tau xy. So I call this plane as plane in which you get the maximum or minimum values of tau xy. We call them as principal shear direction or shear plane. So I call this as theta s, tan 2 theta s. If you recall that tan 2 theta p is equal to 2 tau xy divided by sigma x minus sigma y. So we can conclude that if you take the product of this tan 2 theta p into tan 2 theta s, we get minus 1. That means that 2 theta p is perpendicular to 2 theta s. So this is the conclusion we can make. Therefore, we can say that the principal plane, the direction of the principal plane theta p, and the direction of the principal shear plane theta s, the direction corresponding to theta s, are 45-degree apart. They are 45-degree apart. Therefore, I can also by substituting tan 2 theta p, I can say that tau xy will become 0 if I substitute, and then if I can also find out what is the value of tau max or tau minimum by substituting the values of tan 2 theta s is known. We can find out what is cos 2 theta s from this and what is sin 2 theta s from this. We can find out what are these values, right? So by doing that, we can find out by getting the values of cos 2 theta s and sin 2 theta s, we can find out this. Now we can substitute that it is equal to minus of sigma x minus sigma y by 2. Then we have in this equation sin 2 theta is minus of sigma x minus sigma y divided by square root of sigma x minus sigma y whole square plus 4 tau xy square plus tau xy into 2 tau xy divided by square root of sigma x minus sigma y square plus 4 tau xy square. Therefore, by simplifying, we can find that this is equal to plus minus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 square plus tau xy square. So this is the value of the maximum or the minimum, plus or minus, they are the only change with respect to this. Okay, this is the value of maximum shear stress or the minimum shear stress. Only the sign will change. This can also be written from sigma 1, sigma 2 equation. This is, I call this as equation 1 and I call this equation 2. So if I take 1 and 2 from equation 1 and equation 2, I can write that sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2 is equal to tau max. So if I take plus minus with this, I get tau max and tau minimum from this. So this will give me what is the value of tau maximum. That is actually 45° apart with respect to the principal direction. So this we can obtain from this. Okay, now is it clear? The principal values are the normal, maximum normal and minimum normal stress for the given state of stress at the point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. Now let us move forward. I am rewriting equation A again. Sigma equation A. I am rewriting this. Sigma x is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta plus tau xy sine 2 theta. So let me write equation C also again. Tau capital XY is equal to minus of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 sine 2 theta plus tau xy cos 2 theta. Okay. So what I do now is that I consider from A and C, I consider sigma x minus, I bring this to this side, the first term on the right hand side to the left hand side, sigma x plus sigma y by 2 and square this plus tau capital XY square. So if I operate this, if I do this calculation, what I get is that what I get from this, if I just take sigma x minus sigma small x plus sigma small y by 2 whole square plus tau xy square. Okay, I can write it as equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau xy square. Is it correct? Fine, fine. So I can simplify this term. I can simplify this term. Any question? Anurag is raising hands. Anurag Sharma. Do you have any question?
My mistake.
Okay, fine. Okay, so now with this equation, I can conclude that I can write that this is sigma minus sigma mean of sigma x plus sigma x and sigma y whole square plus tau square is equal to r square. I can write it in this form. That means I can say that this problem where I can say that sigma mean sigma m is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 and r square is equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2 square plus tau xy square. Okay, so this equation is familiar to you. This is a familiar equation in terms of analytical geometry term. What is this equation? This equation is for a circle, right? This is the equation of circle. Equation of circle with radius r with radius r and center. What is the center? Coordinate of the center plus sigma m comma 0. Right? So if we can plot any circle on this circle by satisfying this condition, as I told, sigma m as the center, sigma m comma 0 as the center and r as the radius, if we can plot any value of sigma and tau can be located in that circle corresponding for any particular orientation. So we can plot sigma and tau. These are the These are actually for the rotated axis, right? Sigma x is the normal stress on a rotated direction, and tau xy is the shear stress on that particular plane, normal to the x-axis we are considering. So we can get the value of sigma capital X, tau capital XY for any orientation in the inclined plane we are considering, right? So we consider in the circle, the ordinate of the point on the circle is the shearing stress, that is tau capital XY, and the abscissa, that is the horizontal axis, is the normal stress. So this circle, what we can construct from this is what we call as the circle of stress, right? It is called as a circle of stress, or we also call it as using the name of the researcher who has suggested this kind of geometrical interpretation of the stresses. So his name is Otto Mohr from Germany. So on his name we call this circle of stress, we call it as Mohr circle. So this is for stress, we call it as Mohr circle of stress. Fine. This is what we do. That means we can plot the circle by considering these type of details, right? A Mohr circle we can find out. So any information regarding the state of stress at any particular axis or any particular direction can be obtained with the help of this Mohr circle. Right now we have let's say r square we have. So we want to understand whether the radius will change if we change the plane or if we change the direction, for example, right? So does even the center of the circle, the radius of the circle, will it change if I change the orientation? So that is my next question. So for that I consider r square. R square is equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2 square plus shear stress tau xy square, and sigma m, which is corresponding to the center of the circle, is given by sigma x plus sigma y by 2, which is equal to sigma x plus sigma y is the first invariant of stress, that is I1 by 2. That means the center of the Mohr circle will not change if you just change the orientation of the element or orientation of the axis, reference axis. Now let us see what will happen to the radius also, right? So now we have, let's say, sigma x, sigma y, tau xy. So this is the state of stress at a point. Now second invariant I2 for this will be equal to sigma x into sigma y minus tau xy square. So this is the second invariant. Therefore, I can write r square is equal to sigma x minus sigma y square by 4 plus tau xy square, that is equal to sigma x minus sigma y square y whole square plus 4 times tau xy square divided by 4. I can write it as equal to 1 by 4 times sigma x square plus sigma y square minus 2 sigma x sigma y. I just expanded sigma x minus sigma y whole square plus 4 tau xy square. So this can be simplified as 1 by 4 sigma x plus sigma y square minus 4 times sigma x sigma y minus tau xy square. Okay. Therefore, I can say that r square is equal to 1 by 4 sigma x plus sigma y is equal to I1 square minus 4 times this is I2. This is the radius square. That means I can say that the radius of the circle can be written in terms of the stress invariant. So these are the invariants. That means the radius of the circle as well as the center of the circle will be same irrespective of the orientation of the axis you choose. So that depends an invariant. Therefore, we can easily, it's a very convenient tool to find out what are the details we want from the state of stress, the maximum value, the minimum value, which plane has what stress, everything we can find out in the graphical method. So now how do we plot the Mohr circle? That is the next question, right? So what we can do here is that there are multiple approaches. If you follow different textbooks, there are 3-4 approaches are there to plot the Mohr circle. So there are some mathematically all are same, but only thing is the orientation, the change or the rotation, the sign convention will be something different, right? So this is what we do here. So we can plot the Mohr circle. So let me plot the Mohr circle. So this is the Mohr circle I am looking at right now. So this is my sigma axis, this is my tau axis. So there are approaches where the downward axis is also considered as positive tau axis. So that is one more way of writing this. Now, so we have plotted the Mohr circle by considering this is the center C. Center C is written as from here to here, the coordinate of this will be equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2, and the radius r, this has a radius r. Radius r can be written as using the expression we have mentioned. Now we want to find out, for example, this is the type of element we are looking at. This is sigma x, this is sigma y, and we have tau xy on this. So now if you look at the horizontal axis, this sigma axis, every point on this sigma axis will be the principal direction, because the value of shear stress is equal to 0 over there. Okay, so now I would like to find out the given state of stress. So what I do is that I just take the value of this one point I locate with point, calling it as point A. The coordinate of this is written as sigma x comma tau xy. So this is corresponding to this state of stress, right? And then I know this value of C. CA as radius, I draw the circle. That is also possible. This is just the way I can draw the Mohr circle. Similarly, I locate sigma y, point B, that is point B somewhere here, point B with coordinate sigma y comma minus tau xy. Tau xy. So I will join these lines. Okay, so this is actually the state of stress corresponding to this one. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Okay, now I said that this horizontal sigma axis is the principal direction. So this angle, we have to learn what is this angle. Now let's say I just drop one line like this. Let's say this is J. This is J. So what is the value of, how do you write, let's say, AJ divided by CJ? AJ divided by CJ. What is AJ? AJ is equal to tau xy, and CJ is equal to this value. This is equal to what?
Sigma x minus sigma y divided by
Sigma x minus sigma y by 2. Correct? Am I correct?
yes sir. Yes
So
sir.
the value, the line CJ is nothing but this is equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2. Therefore, what is this actually? This is equal to tan 2 theta p. correct?
Yes.
Therefore, this angle is equal to 2 theta p. Okay, so whenever I can write point A with sigma x and tau xy, this tau xy is written above the sigma line, that means positive. And if tau xy is negative, then this point A will come below the sigma axis. And point B, if sigma y is negative, then it will go to the left axis. And then this, if tau xy is negative, then this minus of minus tau xy will go above the sigma axis. So that is one part you have to learn. Now, what will happen, for example, if for example, let me write it again, that let's say this is the element I have. This is the element I have. This is I have sigma x, tau xy, sigma y. These are the. Now let's say that this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. So what I do is that I know that the principal direction or any particular direction I am interested, I just draw that I want to find out what is in this direction. This is capital X, this is capital Y. Okay, now let's say I have a plane here. I have a plane here. So what are the stresses on this plane? Perpendicular to this capital X axis. I know this is sigma capital X, and I also have tau. This is plus tau capital X capital Y. Correct? On according to our sign convention, this is plus tau capital X capital Y. Okay.
Yes.
This is actually the direction theta. Direction theta. Now, what will happen if theta is made equal to 90 degree? If theta is equal to 90 degree, then what will happen? This capital X axis is directed upward. X axis is directed upward. That means it is coinciding with my small y axis. Right? And what happens to capital Y axis? Y axis directed to this capital Y, directed to left, towards left direction. Right? That means what is happening here is that if I, for example, if I assume that theta is equal to 90 degree, my capital X axis is directed upward and capital Y axis is pointing towards the left direction. So from this orientation, what we can find that the coordinates of this point B, right? That means if this is sigma at any particular orientation, this point B comes there because sigma capital X and sigma small y are coinciding because I consider theta is equal to 90 degree. Therefore, point B is actually represented there, sigma y. Now, what happened to the shear stress there? The shear stress, when I rotate it by 90 degree, what happens is that tau xy, capital tau xy becomes negative there. Correct? If you rotate this by 90 degree, rotate by 90 degrees, sigma x coincide with sigma y and tau xy becomes negative. That's why I have written tau xy here as a negative value. Okay, that means the coordinates of point B, right, can be obtained by rotating 90 degrees. So that means this also give me sigma y and minus tau xy.
So
Is
this
it
is
correct?
not clear. Kindly explain this why tau capital XY is negative.
Is negative. Fine, fine, I agree. So what will happen is that if this element is rotated by 90 degree, right, then I can say that the element, it looks as it is. Let's say I call this as A, B, C, D. Then what will happen now? This will be my B, C, and this is A and D, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is the value of this is the value. This is my capital X axis. This is my capital Y axis. This remains as X axis and this remains as Y axis. Now what will happen to this tau xy? So this is the value of tau capital XY. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So then what is the sign convention now?
The tau capital XY points in the negative direction.
Negative direction. So this is what we are writing here. Tau capital. So this is sigma for any particular orientation. So we are writing the value of that is actually equal to minus tau xy, right?
Yes, sir. That is minus
So
tau.
that's why we are writing sigma y is equal to minus tau xy here. So you can, for example, want to write it as xy is actually located there. If you rotate it by 90 degree, it is shown here in the 180 degree in the Mohr circle. So that's
Yes,
what
sir. Yes.
is the another point you can make from this. So this is one thing you can find out. Next thing you can find out is that let's say I call these 2 points, the extreme points here. I call this as point P and point Q. Point P and point Q. Okay, so what is point P? Sigma m minus r, and what is Q? It is sigma m plus Q, m plus r, sigma m plus r, right? So point P can be written as sigma m minus r, and point Q is written as sigma m plus r. So sigma m plus r is equal to what? It is sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 square plus tau xy square, and this p is sigma x minus sigma y by 2 x plus sigma y by 2 minus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 square plus tau xy square. So these values are what we call it as principal stresses sigma 1 and sigma 2. That means the extreme values of the normal stresses on the sigma axis are nothing but they are the values of sigma 1 and sigma 2, that they are the principal stresses. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So what could be the maximum value of shear stress on this? So this value, right? So I call this as S and T. S and T. So what is the coordinate of S? S coordinate?
Sigma m
comma r.
Sigma m comma r.
R.
R, right? So that means tau max is equal to r, which is in the, because it's in the vertical axis, tau axis, that is equal to square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 square plus tau xy square. So this is the maximum r, it can be the minimum also if I take minus. And what is the associated normal stress? That is sigma m, right? Associated normal stress, that is sigma is equal to sigma m, that is sigma x plus sigma y by 2. So that is obtained in the Mohr circle as well. So S is the value at which the shear stress is maximum, that is sigma x, the radius of the Mohr circle, and the associated normal stress is corresponding to point C, that is the center of the Mohr circle. So the same thing we discussed for 3 Mohr circles, right? So when we had 3 values of sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3, the principal stresses, and then you plotted 3 circles, right? So the associated normal stress and the maximum shear stress were obtained by considering sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2 and sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. In one of the previous lectures we have discussed that. So it is valid here also, and it is now I'm trying to explain it clearly, because there you had 3 circles and it was creating some confusion. But now mathematically, I hope this is clear to you. Okay, so there are some approaches to write, how to write this and how to rotate the axis, that also we'll take up. That also will help you to understand how to draw the Mohr circle and those things, right? Now let us say, how do we draw the Mohr circle? Right now, let us say I just consider a simple element again with sigma x, tau xy, sigma y. Okay, this is the state of stress I have. Now what I should do first is that I just draw the coordinate directions. I draw this. Okay. So in this, first my job is to find out so where this sigma x, sigma y and these points are coming. So what I do is I locate point A, that is I locate this point A with sigma x comma tau xy, and point B with sigma y comma minus tau xy. Okay, I can join these two lines. So this is actually the center of the Mohr circle C. Okay, so now we can find out what are these values and those things. Now, as CA as the center, so CA as the radius, C as the center, and CA is equal to R, draw the Mohr circle. Draw the Mohr circle. Looks very odd. This is point B, and I am redrawing point A, sigma x comma tau xy. So this is the radial line I am talking about. Okay, so now we have plotted sigma x, tau xy, and sigma y minus tau xy. We found this value. Fine. The coordinates are now known to us. So this value is my value of 2 theta p. This is actually my xy plane. This is the xy plane. And this is the sigma axis, and this is the tau axis. This is actually the principal plane. And the orientation angle between point A to sigma axis is the 2 theta p. That is measured in the counterclockwise direction. That is measured in the clockwise direction, whereas in the actual problem we consider it in the reverse direction. So this is my x, y. I call this as, for example, axis 1 and axis 2. So this is here measured in the, this is theta p, measured in the counterclockwise direction, whereas in the actual Mohr circle we are measuring it in the opposite direction. Okay, so this is the way we do it in this approach. There are other approach where you take the tau axis in the downward direction, and there you actually rotate in the same direction. Okay, so that is actually to make the mathematically consistent approach, we do that. So here, this is the xy plane, and you know that xy plane makes an angle 2 theta p with the principal plane. Fine. In this case, now if I want to, for example, want to know, let's say I want to rotate it by x and capital Y. let's say this is theta. Now I want to know this rotation. What is the value of the particular, this is the rotation I am making. This is the direction of capital X and this is the direction of capital Y. What is this sigma capital X? What is this value of tau capital XY? What is this sigma Y? So these are the details I have to understand now. Okay, so this angle or this orientation is equal to theta with respect to the x-axis. Now what I will do here is that I just rotate from AC. I rotate by an angle in the opposite direction. If we are rotating here in the counterclockwise direction positive, here we rotate in the opposite direction. So if we rotate here by angle theta, we do it by 2 theta in this Mohr circle. So that means I end up in getting a line like this. I call this as point P with sigma capital X and tau capital Y. Just I make a angular rotation on this. So this is point, I can call it as P dash. Now I want to know what is the value of this. What is the sigma capital X? What is the tau XY? I need to understand from this figure. So now I know that tan 2 theta P is equal to 2 tau XY by sigma X minus sigma Y, right? So any rotation in the clockwise direction any rotation of the axis in the clockwise direction will be incorporated in Mohr circle in the opposite direction, in counterclockwise direction. So in the opposite also true. So if we are making counterclockwise here, so counterclockwise direction will be incorporated in the Mohr circle in the clockwise direction. So these are also possible, counter or clockwise direction. So it will be done in the clockwise or counterclockwise. So that is in the opposite direction. So are you understanding this? Any rotations of the axis, if you make in the counterclockwise in the axis, in the Mohr circle, you are making it in the opposite direction. So that's what you have to understand. Will be incorporated in Mohr circle in clock or counterclockwise direction. So we make theta in this, you make 2 theta in this direction. So 2 theta. So these are the only change you have. Now, so if you look at the figure, this AC is equal to R. So what is this equal to? In that case, you can find out here sigma X minus sigma Y by 2. That is what my this is Cj, right? Earlier I wrote that. That is equal to R cos 2 theta P. And similarly, tau xy is equal to R. What is the value of tau xy in terms of R? Let us only concentrate on point A. R sin 2 theta P. Okay, so what is the value of sigma capital X according to our equation? It is sigma X plus sigma Y by 2 plus sigma X minus sigma Y by 2 cos 2 theta plus tau XY sin 2 theta. Right, I can write it as sigma capital X is equal to sigma X plus Y by 2 plus sigma X minus sigma Y by 2 is equal to R times cos 2 theta P into cos 2 theta plus tau XY is equal to R sin 2 theta P into sin 2 theta. Therefore, I can write this sigma capital X is equal to sigma X plus sigma Y by 2 plus R cos So I can write it as cos 2 theta p minus 2 theta. So this is cos A cos B plus sin A sin B is equal to cos A minus cos of A minus B. So that's what I have used here. So similarly, so I can also write tau capital XY is equal to minus R cos 2 theta P into sin 2 theta plus R sin 2 theta P into cos 2 theta, which is equal to R into sine of 2 theta P minus 2 theta. This is tau XY. So now I can just consider graphically, I just rotate it by measuring 2 theta in the opposite direction. In this, for example, if I want the capital X axis in the rotated counterclockwise direction theta, I get the same capital XY plane, same XY plane in the Mohr circle by making the rotation in the clockwise direction. So this is my capital XY plane. So now I can obtain what is the value of P, what is the value of P dash, right? So this is what I do when I want to find out what is the value of this. So either I can use it graphically or with the help of calculator also I can just find out what are the values. So this is another approach where we are really interested in finding out or in understanding what are the different values. So any direction rotation you make in the axis, XY axis, it can be captured in the Mohr circle at all. So we know that the boundaries of this is equal to sigma 1, sigma 2 and tau max, tau minimum. So these are the boundaries of the state of stress at a particular point given by the state of stress sigma x, tau xy, sigma y. Okay, so this fairly gives us idea in which direction we should concentrate, in which direction the stress is going to be higher, what is the maximum. Once you know the boundary, you are free to make your own decision on considering which type of or what details of the stresses you need to consider while making any decisions on design. So this is about the Mohr circle, the usefulness of this, how to plot. These are the Mohr circle.